project is an old industrial site built back in the 50s, in fact, an auto manufacturing facility. And they had a sludge lagoon on the site that were closed back in the 80s. However, there were still some issues with the groundwater.
It started off with investigation at the site, looking for what contaminants we've got here and delineating the extents of those contaminants, and then working on coming up with a remedial approach, looking at various methods that we might use to clean up. There's two major sources of contamination here at the site. There's a groundwater contamination with chlorinated solvents, and then there's an oil contamination, basically a 6-acre area that's covered with oil on top of the groundwater.
We partnered with Ohio EPA again to reach an effective solution that's agreeable to both parties, to make sure that we protect the human health and the environment, and at the same time achieve our goals in a reasonable time. T&M implemented an anaerobic bioremediation system that adds substrate to the groundwater to biodegrade the chlorinated solvents. We
developed some methods that at that time were very novel. It was the first large-scale application of that particular technology called reductive dechlorination. So we're using a particular species, actually multiple species of microbes, and we provide them the right nutrients, the right food. These microbes can feed off of the chlorinated solvents and use them in place of oxygen. So it's a microbial process where you can break down those contaminants in the groundwater and convert them into harmless byproducts. Back in the early stages, we did a risk assessment of what potential populations might be affected by it, how they would be affected, how they might come in contact with it. In any of these projects, one of the most important things is protecting the human health and the environment, and any place where there's a receptor, any place where someone can come in contact with it, we have to use engineering controls or remediation or whatever to make sure that that doesn't happen.
We try to come up with the most innovative, cost-effective solution that's going to meet all the regulatory requirements while minimizing the risk, the liability, and any potential harm to the environment. Coming up with an engineering solution is always the easy part. Coming up with an economic, effective solution that meets all those criteria is always our ultimate goal.